man. Hopefully y'all join back. Let's see. Well, for anybody watching this post live, if anybody's watching this afterwards and you're wondering why there were 2 links posted, it just crashed. The app just crashed. Okay, here we go. All right, good. We got folks joining back. All right, we got about 8 folks now, 10 folks. I am so sorry, y'all. I don't know what just happened there. The app that, I think it was the YouTube app just crashed. It was not, last time we had Wi-Fi issues, this time the app just crashes out of nowhere. So I very much apologize for that. And here's the thing, if you listed a question, it's gone. So I am so sorry. So if you asked a question that I did not get to in the last chat, please feel free to list that right here now again. Because I was just talking and the screen went black and the app crashed. I mean, it wasn't the phone dying, it wasn't poor Wi-Fi, it was just like, it just crashed on me. So I very much apologize for that. Dang, we had like 70 folks and we're up to about 15 now. But anyway, let's see. Blake says, hi Dixie, hi Blake. Mark says, welcome back. Mike says, I'm back. Okay, all right, so Blake has a question. For those of y'all joining on, I see we have about 20 now. If you asked a question, it got gone because the app just randomly crashed, so I apologize for that very much. So all the questions are gone. So if you typed one up, go ahead and type it again. I'm really sorry. That has never happened before. That's really weird. Okay, Blake says, I wonder if I had too many things open on my phone or something, but Blake says, how do you handle a stranger that really wants to hike with you, but you want to hike alone or they make you uncomfortable? Okay, so that is a wonderful question. You know, and I have had this happen a couple of times, and the good news is most of the time you can camp around several different people, right? Like you don't normally get stuck just camping alone with one person. That happened to me more on the PCT than the AT. So, I mean, the best method is to just be honest. Like, hey, you know, I hope you understand, but I really, you know, want to hike alone today, or I hope you understand, but you know, I would really like to camp alone tonight. Like I came here to be alone in nature, or, you know, whatever, or try to find some other hikers around. But I would say the best thing to do is just be not brutally honest, like not ugly or hateful, you know, but just like be honest. Like I really would rather hike alone. Now I have talked to some girls who, you know, just kind of got creeped out by people and wanted to be alone. So in those instances, I would say maybe find some other people to hike around if you can, like if you're actually concerned for your safety. But 99.99% of people that I've been around on the trail are very nice. And if somebody's hanging around you, chances are like they're just lonely and they want somebody to hang out with and talk with. But I understand, like, you also have to enjoy yourself. So if you're miserable or you feel like you're being smothered, then, you know, it can be pretty frustrating. But you can not want to hurt their feelings and continue to hike around them, but you're probably going to start really not enjoying yourself. You're going to start getting short with them and not, you know, being as kind as of a person as maybe you normally are. So I think that the best method is just honesty, you know, and to just let them know. And if they don't respect that, then, you know, then you have to maybe have a little bit more of a firm conversation with them. But again, that's not something that I think is extremely common. And if you're on a well-populated trail like the AT, there are a lot of people around, a lot of people that you can talk to. And I would make a point to kind of try to camp with people that you do feel more comfortable with, or at least where there are a lot of people, you know, so that way you're not just with that one person. So that's a very good question. And, you know, it might be something that I need to think about more in depth, and the situations that I've been in specifically, and maybe do like a video or something on something like that. Because it can be kind of a touchy thing, you know, so, but yeah, I would say honesty, and then if they're making you uncomfortable, stick around some other people and let them know, you know, like I said, there may not be bad intentions, there could potentially be bad intentions, but I try not to be like a gossip or something, so I try not to, you know, go up to some people and be like, oh, that guy is so creepy, you know, because chances are he might not be creepy, he's just like, you know, you're not into that person being around you. Or girls, same thing, guys or girls, it can go both ways. So, but yeah, that is a very good question, and should think on it more before should think on it more so that I can do a video on it or come up with like a better answer. So I hope that helps some. But yeah, I have had that happen, and generally I just finally had to be honest. All right, let's see. Mark says, have you thought of doing an in-depth video on dehydrating food? I've done a video on dehydrating ground beef, and I've done one, like a recipe that I used on trail that was with food that I had dehydrated. And so I think I probably showed some of that. But other than that, I haven't. I might try to do another recipe or something like that. Something different. I'll tell you though, a great resource for dehydrated foods and trail recipes is backpackingchef.com. It's great. And that's honestly, I'd probably get a recipe from there and credit him and just make it on the video because they're really good. Okay. All right, we're up to like 58, 59. So folks here, I am so sorry the app crashed earlier, and if you had a question, it's gone. So I don't know, that's so weird. It's never happened before. I hope it does not happen again. But if you had a question, you might want to go ahead and type it again, and I really do apologize for that. Let's see. Hello, I haven't been to a Q&A in months, so I'm glad that you could make it back. Joe says, I'm here, yay! Mine was about whether long distance motorcycling interests you. Okay, Joe, I might hurt your feelings with this, but no. So I am, you know, I would rather encounter a mountain lion again, and even a different mountain lion, and take my chances with that. I would be more comfortable in that situation than I would on a long distance motorcycling trip. And I don't know, I rode a real bull on my 21st birthday. I would rather climb back on a bull. Something about a motorcycle, I cannot relax. I cannot just chill out. I am just uptight the whole time. It might have something to do with wrecking a moped in the Bahamas when I was 18. Yep, it was like my senior cruise. Me and my mom went on it. We saved up for a while and got our tickets, and that was something we got to do together because, you know, I'm one of 5 and they were babies then, and so she didn't go do anything that her kids couldn't do. So, but she did that with me, and that was really cool. She was like a chaperone. But anyway, so I wrecked a moped in the Bahamas when I was 18 because I was like in a curve, and my little high school boyfriend was like, you should just ride with me. And I was like, no, I want to drive my own bike. And he was like, okay then. And so I think he was purposely going fast because, you know, he was a jerk, and that's why he's my ex. No, really, we don't have any bad blood. But anyway, so he was going really fast around this curve, and I didn't know that you're kind of supposed to like lean into it. And so I was trying to like steer, and I ended up kind of popping myself off to the side and slid down, and the bike or moped, whatever you want to call it, actually like hit a building. And I was an idiot. I shouldn't say I was an idiot, but maybe that's what you would call it. I made a bad decision and didn't have a helmet on, and luckily I didn't knock my noggin or anything like that. But I was all skin up, and the ocean water did not feel good for the rest of the time. So that might have something to do with me not wanting to climb on a motorcycle. But yeah, I cannot relax. I can't do it. So I admire the things that you do, but I cannot. Okay, let's see. Last Q&A you asked, I didn't scroll back enough. Okay. Let's see. Suzanne says, yay. Joe says it is similarly helpful community and camping is involved. Yeah, I could meet y'all there in a car. Does that count? And camp and hang out? Okay, Dave says, we were told in public speaking to look at the audience's foreheads. The audience can't tell, and it looks like you're looking them in the eye. Ah, now that's a trick I could get behind. I might have to try that and let y'all know how it goes. Jake says, thanks, Dixie. My question was, should I look at a double wall tent for East Coast hiking? Okay, that's a good question. So a lot of people have been concerned with the Z-Packs duplex and how it would perform on a trail that has a lot of rain. I mean, it's for sure, in my opinion, in my experience, that I got more condensation in the single wall tent. However, I got condensation in the double wall tent when it was raining all night. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess I would say when it was pouring rain, I was going to have condensation anyway in my double wall tent. When it was just like kind of a misty night, it might not be as bad, where, you know, the single wall tent might be similar to as if it was raining. But there are ways to try to ventilate, like leave a flap open on your tent and things like that. There have been hikers who have used a duplex on the Appalachian Trail. So if you look up, you know, Cuban fiber tent on Appalachian Trail on Google, then there probably is a good amount of feedback on that. And I know that people have done it and loved it. So it's all kind of personal preference. And, you know, it might depend on the person too. Like, how much are you making the condensation happen? But yeah, people do it and they're successful with it. And if I was to do the AT tomorrow, I would take my Z-Packs duplex on the AT and give it a go. And I can't say that I wouldn't hate it, but I don't know. So, but I would be willing to try it just for the sake of how light a single wall tent is. And I know there are other single wall tents and just the duplex. So yeah, I hope that helps. I know that wasn't a straight answer, but anyway, that is my best way to answer that. Okay, let's see. Last Q&A, you asked if pack your fears is a common saying outside of this community. As y'all were discussing where that came from, a friend of mine heard it on the JMT a few years ago. Cool, there we go. Now we know. The more you know. When she told me, it changed my life, though that random JMT person may have gotten it from your videos. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I know that that we did that research to find out where it came from. So yeah, it's a small world. This backpacking community is a small world for sure. Lloyd says, does your mom have a trail name yet, or is it bad luck to pick one before you start? No, she doesn't yet. I think she would want to get it out there. You know, I know some folks do pick it before they go, but I just feel like that's something that she's going to want to, like, earn out there. But I might give her one, you know, if she does something silly, especially, so I can just, like, you know, make fun of her the rest of the trip. Not really make fun of. I'm not hateful like that, but pick on her, you know, because I love her. Greetings, Dixie. Hello. Garrick says, tip for nerves when speaking in public. If you were invited to speak, there's no reason to be nervous. People are there because they want to hear you speak, not to criticize you for little mistakes. That is very true. Thank you for that. That is really true. I never had to take a public speaking class. I don't know how I got away with that in college. I must have taken something else, like maybe music appreciation counted for that, or ethics or something. I don't know. Something made it to where I didn't have to have that, and I'm kind of glad. But yeah. I kind of do wish that I had to, because it would be good practice, right? But yeah, you're right. At least they want me to be there, so that is good. Okay, let's see. What is next? Let's see. Loving my neck knife. Wear it every day to work and play. Well, I'm glad you like it. I gave my mom one for Christmas, and I gave my dad one for Christmas. And he wore his for a while. I don't know if he's still wearing it, though. The newness might have rubbed off and he didn't wear it anymore. But Mom will definitely wear hers when we're out on trail. But yeah, I'm glad that you like it. That's awesome. And thank you for getting it. Let's see. Okay, back up. Yeah, we got it going again. And again, I noticed a few more people have joined, so I sound like a broken record to those who joined up quickly. But If you left a question before, it is gone. The YouTube app said bye y'all and just kicked us right off of here and closed it all out. I do not know why it crashed, but that's the first time that's ever happened. So if you left a question and I did not get to it in the last Q&A chat thing, then be sure to leave it again here, and I apologize about that. Okay, Sean said, finally able to join live. I haven't heard you talk much about other popular thru-hiker vloggers, medium muggles, whatever. Do you ever plan meetup or shared events like this with them? Let's see. I'm sure you share a ton of subscribers with Darwin, etc. Yeah, so Darwin actually hit me up when he was doing the Pinhoti because he was here in town, but that I was out of town while he was here. So otherwise I would have met up with him. I don't like meet up. I don't make a point to go meet up with those because like I don't like them. I'm like, oh, they're competition, so you know, I'm or anything. It's just that, you know, they're not necessarily close. And in the world of YouTube, if you're going to collaborate with other people, it makes most sense to do that with people that have slightly different audiences. So because Darwin and I share subscribers, like, I mean, it would be cool just because we got together and like did a video, and people that watch both of us might enjoy that. But as far as like benefiting, you know, each of us benefiting from it, it would make more sense for me to do something with, well, for example, there's a guy named Tom Rowland who has a channel called Saltwater Experience, and he does several different things. I think he's involved in some TV shows, but he interviewed me, and I think within the next week or two that should probably be up. But so he kind of has a different audience, which is fishing, but it's still related in the way that it's outdoors, the outdoors world, right? So people who like fishing might also like backpacking, and people who like backpacking might also like fishing. And so you're kind of cross-pollinating audiences that might not know about each other. So if that makes sense. So that's like, if you're going to focus effort into collaborating, that's generally, you know, the route that you would take. So I don't know if that makes sense, but so it's not like I wouldn't, you know, I'm avoiding these other people like the plague or anything like that, but I assume that they probably have a similar mindset on some of that. You know, it's just like, if you're going to take the time and effort to work with somebody else, then, you know, yeah. So anyhow, but he did reach out to me while he was here, and if I knew I was in his area, I would also, you know, reach out. So, all right, let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay, you said something about us listening to you ramble. My comment to that was, we tune in because we want to hear you ramble on. All right, well, good. Ramble on. I just won't sing. Okay, let's see. My question, when and where are you speaking again? So I am speaking again at Wofford College, unless you're asking in addition to that. I'm speaking again at Wofford College March 14th at 7 p.m. That's in South Carolina. Also on April 25th, I will be at the Living Free in Tennessee workshop. So there's a girl who, I've talked about Hollow Roast Coffee before, Nicole Williams, or Nicole Sauce as she is known. She's part of like the survival podcast community. But I get coffee from her because, I don't know, something about supporting people who are like living their passion and small business and love. Like, yes, it's a little more expensive, but she roasts her own coffee. She does like a coffee of the month subscription kind of thing. And I don't know, there's just something about supporting somebody's dream, you know, that I think is really cool. And so she asked me to come speak at her. She's doing like a little workshop thing, kind of similar to the survival podcast type stuff. So I don't know if any of y'all, she has a podcast, so I'm going to go speak there. Like, I'm one of the speakers there, but I think there I'm going to be talking not necessarily just about backpacking, but like promoting your personal brand on social media. So it'll be a little bit different, but it won't be, you know, just talking about the experience as much. It'll be something completely different. But if you get into self-reliance and things like that, you might appreciate her podcast, or, you know, some get together like that. But anyhow, so those are the two that I definitely have lined up. There are some other things, but I don't know if they would be like necessarily open to the public. So, okay, let's see. What Leah said. Well, thank y'all very much. Phil says necropsy. Am I saying that right? Necropsy. It's necropsy. Okay, because like necrosis, right? Okay, anyway, necropsy, autopsy on an animal, just saying. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, that's what I meant. And is it neat? I really am struggling with this, and I know what necropsy. It's got to be necropsy. Anyway, I have actually had that done on some puppies before. So their mom had them. She belonged to a friend of a friend. The mom died not long, like a couple days after the puppies were born, and the guy was just like, I don't know what to do with them, and like a few of them died before he, you know, tried to do anything with them, and I think he was feeding them like cow's milk or whatever in bottles, but like once a day or something, and I was like, please bring me the puppies. So I actually went and got the puppies from him, and I was bottle feeding them like every 4 hours or so, and puppy alternative formula, and they ended up dying. Like they made it to like 6 weeks, and then all 3 of them before they died, they had it just kills my soul to even talk about it, but and I mean, y'all don't want to hear about this. Anyway, it was just a very, like, it seemed like it was very painful for them. They were fine, and then a moment later, they screamed and died in my hands. And all 3 of them like that. Not the same day, but just eventually. And so I had the, maybe it's necropsy. Anyway, whatever it is, I had that done, and they said that the puppies had worms, but they really couldn't find anything else, you know, because I was just worried they were around my dogs. So anyway, that's been years ago. That was one of the most awful experiences I've ever had, because the runt was the last one to live. The other 2 actually died with, my mom was watching them for me, and then the runt died in my hands, and it was, oh God, it was just horrible. Okay, anyway, now that we've talked about awful, sad things, I don't know why I even got off on that tangent, but I had one of those done on those puppies. All right. There's so many YouTube vloggers going out on the AT this year, me included. Do you think that we will have a negative or positive impact on the experience? I hope positive, but I can see both sides. Yeah, I think, you know, with any action, I think there are pros and cons to like everything, right? Like I am going to relax because I'm drinking this glass of wine, but I'm also slightly dehydrating myself, right? So by this action, there are positive things that are happening and negative things that are happening. So by making people aware of the trail or the trail life, or encouraging people to get out and hike, you might be allowing them to make a positive change on their life. Sure, there's going to be more traffic on the trail, so there could be negative impacts on the trail like that, but also there are going to be more people aware of public lands who want to protect those and, you know, get out there and enjoy them and take care of them. You might make more people aware of the trail who want to do trail maintenance. Like they don't even want to hike. They're just going to get out there and do trail maintenance. So, you know, I think, I mean, there's a saying like the road to hell is paved with good intentions or whatever. But, you know, I think like people aren't getting out there and vlogging to like ruin anybody else's experience or to ruin the trail, right? So I think that I do think that intentions can be important, and, you know, I mean, you're just sharing your experience. Like, you're going to do it anyway, so just sharing it. Now, certainly be mindful, you know, at camp, if you're camped around a lot of people and it's midnight, you want to be like, well, I just got to camp, and be super loud and everything while you're recording. But, so I think as long as you're mindful of others and just try to treat people with common courtesy, you know, I don't see anything wrong with it. Uh-oh. Carl says, is your signal weak? My auto setting is picking you up only at the lowest setting, and video quality is pretty slack. Oh, no. I don't know. Is anyone else having that same issue? I'm so sorry if that's happening. It shouldn't be weak. I have, like, fiber optic, like, this cable here, or the Wi-Fi here is supposed to be, like, the best in the area, so I'm going to be pretty upset if there is an issue. But last time we did have a little bit of a connection issue, and I think it was, you know, my end, and I don't think it was YouTube. So I guess y'all let me know if you're having that same problem. Okay, let's see. But I hope that answered your question about vlogging. So if you're going to be doing it anyway, I don't see any problem in documenting it as long as you're, you know, trying to do it in a good way. Phil said, did you hang a bear bag past Sierra's or just put it nearby? So after I didn't have to have the bear canister anymore, I certainly tried to hang a bear bag. I mean, as y'all have seen, sometimes trees aren't perfect for bear bagging, so I would do the best that I could. I didn't think about the look that up until I was on the CDT kind of at the end. So, and then I shared that in a video about bear bagging. But anyway, I think, you know, I think that method, the 2-tree method, but the main thing, getting it out of your tent, you know, making sure that it's not in there with you. You don't want bears to get your food and associate humans with a food source. No. And you don't want to be without your food. But it just, you know, in almost all the videos you see about bear bagging, it's like, oh, and here we have this perfect tree that you're never going to find in the wilderness. And that's why I tried to share that 2-tree method. So you can certainly practice that. But I will say the most important thing is, you know, to protect yourself and not have it in your tent with you. But the mice up in Washington can get a little vicious. So I'm not going to lie and tell you that I never slept with my food, because there were times where the mice were so bad, I was like, they're going to get it anyway. And there were no good trees to bear bag. And so I did sleep with it. But, you know, it's kind of one of those things, like, obviously we know the rules of thumb and like what you're supposed to do. But then sometimes in reality that changes, and you have to, you know, do the best you can. So, okay, let's see. Thinking of an earth sack, what do you think? An earth sack will solve your problems for sure. So, sorry, I'm just swapping this power source here. It's funny because I plugged, there we go. I plugged my phone up to my backup battery bank, and now it's like trying to die on me, and I'm like, you better not. So, okay. So I just plugged it into the laptop. Okay, so Jim says, oh, Phil, so earth sack I think would be a good option. Honestly, if I had it to do again on the CDT, some of the areas that we were at in grizzly country, I really do wish that I had that, because it would have just given me peace of mind to know that I wasn't like encouraging grizzlies to get a taste for human food. It never happened, you know, I never had my bag taken down at night or anything. But again, some of the trees that we hung in just really were not like great bear bagging trees. So, Marjorie says pretty grainy. Audio video quality is good here for Mark. Steven says good here. Okay, yeah, so some folks are getting it in okay and some aren't. I'm sorry, y'all. Hopefully you can hear me okay, but I know that's weird just hearing a voice and like seeing a pixelated face. Okay, Jim says, gear list for Fancy May. How's Fancy's training going? How are guitar lessons going? Fancy has been doing fine. She's walking with her harness now. Seems to be pretty comfortable. To start with, she was just like shaking. She has not been to a proper trainer yet. Honestly, so y'all were talking about earlier about intermingling with vloggers. And I thought about, there are some like dog training channels on YouTube. I thought it would be pretty cool to kind of get her with one of those. And so kind of like let them know what I'm doing, and then, you know, telling them that I'm looking for some training, and maybe do some kind of collaboration, and like cross promotion. So I don't know what y'all think about that. That was Erin's idea, which I thought was pretty great. So I might reach out to some of them. So we'll see. But I am thinking about that. It's just that some of them live away, so I would have to go, you know, I assume to them. But which, you know, I could do. So, all right, let's see. Oh, but as far as a gear list goes for Fancy, she already has her pack, and that's pretty much, I mean, I might get her a collapsible bowl or something like that. But I'll take some other things, of course, but I think it's gonna kind of be like as we go along. I might go ahead and get some little booties for her. I know she's not gonna like that, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I don't want her to just wear shoes. I want her to, you know, acclimate as I'm getting my trail legs and her kind of toughen up her feet. And hopefully with getting out and walking often on pavement and on trails and stuff, that will happen anyway. So the booties would be just like if she got a blister or something, but we'll have time so we can take a couple days off, you know. But guitar lessons, when I have been great, but you know, I was out of town for 10 days and then I'm getting my wisdom teeth removed tomorrow, and Thursday was my guitar lesson day. So this will be the third week that I haven't gone, but you know, I'm doing well as far as with what I've learned so well and practicing and all that. So, but thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Let's see. Joe says it does. All right. Lloyd says you would love a motorcycle trip. You need to go with an experienced rider. I don't know. I don't think I would love it. It makes me nervous thinking about it, but I don't know. I guess I shouldn't knock it till I try it, right? Robert says, hi, Jessica. Hi, Robert. I'm still so glad that we finally got the kink worked out, because Robert for a long time could not join the chats. And so I think it was some way we ended up filtering it out. But anyway, we figured it out. So glad you're here. Jim says, doing Pinhoti Trail in April. So excited. Does that count as a through hike if I complete it? Yeah, I don't see why not. It's the same thing as completing something like the long trail, or that, you know, it's a through hike of the Pinhoti Trail. So, let's see. Lloyd says, ham radio license yet? You knew we were going to ask. Yeah. Nope, not yet. One thing at a time. Actually, it's like 20 things at a time, and and with being out of town and everything, I have not had the time. I have not made it a priority, and I have not made the time for it. So guitar lessons kind of trumped that for now. It is still definitely on my list of things to do. So, but as I'm moving closer to May, I'm like, okay, gotta be focusing more on, you know, getting Fancy ready and getting some more things done on the channel. I need to get some videos up, and really like a backlog of videos so Aaron can edit those as it's convenient for him. Also, so there's a buffer when we start the trail. But anyway, yeah, there's just a good bit to catch up on. But yes, eventually, yes. Mark says, I've used the duplex on the Foothills Trail and the AT. I've not had condensation issues during rains. I've not had condensation issues during rain/good weather. Make sure that you have one of the vestibule doors at least cracked for ventilation. Okay, there you go. Perfect. I'm glad that somebody here, you know, has had that experience and can vouch for it. So Jim says, control your breathing. Deep breaths will help calm your nerves. Can't wait for this. Oh, that's not Jim that said that. Thank you, Jim. I will. I have to remember that for sure when I'm there. Patrick says, can't wait for the saltwater experience. Thank you. Yeah, he was a cool guy. I really enjoyed chatting with him. And also there's a guy who is putting together a documentary, and I met with him this week. And it's called Trail Mix is the documentary's name. And he's interviewing like all sorts of different folks, and talking about like how mental health kind of affects things. And so his name is Glenn Schweitzer. But you can Google Trail Mix documentary if you want to learn more about what he's doing with that. And so he met with me on Monday, and we went out to a trail nearby and just kind of chatted, and he asked me several questions, and so that's something else that I've done here recently. But okay, let's see. Oh, and the reason I said that is because Tom knows Glenn. So it's funny how like you talk to this person, then you connect with that person, and networking. It's a real thing. Let's see. Rob said, wanted to thank you for inspiring me to start backpacking. Went out last year on 4 weekend trips only. Logged 90 miles on the NCT in Wisconsin, but more to come this year. All thanks to you. Well, thank you, but no, not all thanks to me, because maybe that's what like finally put enough water on the seed that it grew. But I'm sure at some point there was a seed that was planted, and then somebody sprinkled some Miracle-Gro, and maybe I dumped some water on it. But you ultimately got out there and did it. So, so good on you. Good on you. Robert says, give us a link or the name of the coffee. Okay. The name is Holler Roast Coffee. And her name is Nicole Williams, and she's got a podcast called Living Free in Tennessee. So, so that is the name of it. Let's see. Are you speaking any in Alabama in like April or May? A buddy and I are going to be in Alabama around then to play the Robert Trent Jones Golf Course. Oh, cool. Maybe I could be. I'm not sure. If I do though, I'll definitely announce it if it's something public. But that's neat. That's really cool. Small world. And I don't have any plans yet, but it could happen. River Wolf says, oh no, had a long phone call and came back to see the dead feed in New Link. I had asked about tips for the PCT on a budget and any expensive town vortexes to avoid if you had a chance to answer. Yes, I did answer on the other video. Basically I said, like, if you're not sick of ramen noodles and tuna and peanut butter and stuff like that, you can definitely find that in hiker boxes. Also, if you make a point to get to town early instead of late, a lot of towns do have lists with trail angels names. And then I may have said some other things. But get on the PCT like groups on Facebook and just kind of ask the same thing. I would say be careful on how you word it, because folks can be snippy and sassy, and assume like, oh, you're trying to do it for free, go get a job and whatever, when all you're asking is like, how can I do this as inexpensively as possible? So, just say like, what are some of y'all's ideas for, saving, like, or doing things as inexpensively as possible, on the PCT. But, those are some of the things I can think of. But yeah, VVR, definitely avoid that place if you can, because they are super expensive. And I mentioned like it might be cheaper in some areas that only have like one general store. If you look in Guthook at some of the comments for the different resupply points, they will have that like, wow, super expensive, or they'll have some price ideas a lot of times. So in those areas, if you buy some cheap food and send it to yourself, you could save money, but by the time you pay postage, I don't know. And they might have hiker box there that, you could have gotten food out of. So, so those are just some ideas. Let me know and I'll check it out when that first video is available to view later. Okay. Yeah. So you can look there and see if I forgot anything the second time around. Jerry says, for sharing a tent, do you think a double wall would be better than a single wall to reduce condensation? Again, double walls to me generally do have less condensation, so I would say yes. But Mom and I this summer, I think with Fancy, we're gonna use the triplex, so we're using a single wall tent. So I can let you know better after that. When Kyle and I were together, we did share a tent a few times on the PCT and the CDT, and I didn't notice necessarily a huge increase in condensation. But it does make sense why it might have a little bit more, but it wasn't for an extended period of time. He was only out there a couple times for short periods to visit. So yeah. Carl says, oh, this is where he asks, is your signal weak? Yeah, I don't think so, because it's not like, giving me troubles on this end, but it could be. Leah says, thank you for sharing the puppy story. I'm so sorry that happened, but it's really great that you were there and able to give them the life that you did. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm a sucker for dogs, any animal, honestly. I had a goose one time. I had a foster goose. I think I talked about that not too long ago on one of these Q&As, but I just end up with some random things. But let's see. Patrick says, the internet has been funky all day, not just... All right, yeah. Well, yeah, we all go through some funky internet times. I swear it gets like the flu and stuff. I swear it does, but... how many days of food would you suggest for the start of the AT approach trail before resupply options? Okay, would you suggest for the start of the AT approach trail? Okay, so the first resupply point is Neil Gap. Now, I took like 5 or 6 days of food, which was way too much. If I'm not mistaken, it's what, like 32 miles? Is that right? Including the approach trail to Neil Gap. So, I mean, I did 8 miles a day starting out. You know, you're actually staying pretty active and backpacking and stuff in between. So, you know, I really think that, I mean, I would like to say 4 days, you'd be good. But, you know, it just really depends. And you probably have a better idea of what you eat on a trip. You know, I had never been backpacking, so I had like 5 or 6 days of food, and it really was way too much. But yeah, I would say Neil Gap is going to be your first resupply point. Kind of look at the elevation. You know what you're eating on the trips that you've been on recently, and just try to keep all of that in mind. And, you know, how much you're eating on the terrain that you're hiking on, and then just try to compare notes on that. But I honestly think in 4 days that, you know, if you can do 8 miles a day, if it is 32 miles, then you really don't need more than that. So, and if you get like, the thing is too, you're going to be leaving from town starting the approach trail. So you're going to have like hopefully a good meal, you know, the morning you start, like a good breakfast. So you might not even be hungry until lunch or later, you know. So you might not need even 4 full days of food if it is 32 miles and you only do 8 miles a day. But I hope that helps a little bit. Let's see, I might have a chance to section hike the AT this fall, maybe 5 days or so. It would be leisure, maybe 8 to 10 miles a day. I'm not looking to stay at busy shelters. Any suggestions on which stretch? Yes, so I did some section spotlight deals. Like I think I did 2 videos on that. One was up in Vermont, and then one was like the Tinker Cliffs area, McAfee Knob, all that in Virginia. McAfee Knob is kind of a hot spot for Virginia Tech students to visit. So, but you know, that's like the first day, the first stretch in that you'll see people there. You know, the shelters are pretty consistent all along the trail. So there's not like a certain area where I can tell you like, oh, well, there aren't many shelters here, so go there. But, you know, there are certainly beautiful areas. I mean, the White Mountains, it's kind of hard to stealth camp there, though, and you end up kind of having to stay near the huts. But, yeah, I mean, I would say Virginia, the Grayson Highlands area is really pretty. But the thing is, really, no matter where you go, if you just plan to not camp at the shelter, then you're fine. So, now if you're doing the Smokies, you have to stay in the shelter if you're section hiking and not through hiking. So I would say not there. But you know, the other areas, Shenandoah would be nice. I don't know if they have that same rule there or not. I don't think so, but I would definitely check that out before you go there. But you know, any area, as long as you're not afraid to dry camp too, like not camp near water, you won't see anybody, because folks on the AT generally really like to stick near a water source. So if you're not afraid to tote water with you and camp where there's not water, you'll have that peace that you're looking for pretty easily. Yes, I'm having issues with connection as well, mostly clear, but goes in and out sometimes. I'm so sorry, y'all. I really hate that. I'm so sorry if y'all can't see me well. I don't know. Yeah, on this side it's not like buffering or anything like that, but Stuart says, saw a vlog from last year where a bear had destroyed an ursack on the AT. Ooh! Yeah, there are several different types of ursacks, so make sure you look at that too when you're getting an ursack. I'm not saying that one wasn't rated for bears, but you know, there's a chance that it might not have been. But yeah, that's not good. Let's see. Great idea for trainer collaboration. Would love to see that. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Off-leash canine training on YouTube would be great for a collab. Okay, so this is why I usually have a pen and paper. Let's see. I'm going to write that down. Off-leash. Sorry if the table is shaking. Off-leash canine training. I will say, y'all, that as far as the connection stuff, that Aaron and I have talked about, because my camera that I normally use, shuts off like after 5 minutes of video. So we're trying to find a better setup for these live Q&As so that it's better quality, that it sounds better, and all of that. So bear with me. We are trying to make these a little bit better. You know, it's like slowly trying to just improve everything. But okay, River says video and audio here. Got a question about YouTube, my channel next week now that I have. Oh, now that I have good Wi-Fi and can post videos again. Do you think 2 videos a week once I get on trail? If you can do that and commit to it and stick to it, you know, that's great. I mean, of course, I feel like a channel naturally will perform better as long as, you know, the quality is consistent. If there are 2 videos per week versus 1 a week. Now, on the CDT, when Aaron was editing, he only wanted to do 1 a week, and, you know, I agreed. Like, it was just a lot to try to be on trail and do all of that. But we're back up to 2 now, so, and there were times on the PCT when we were doing 2 a week, but that's when he was home and editing from home. So you might find that it's a little too much. So what I suggest doing, maybe, is starting with 1 a week, and then if you feel like you can handle 2 a week, especially if you get like kind of a what am I trying to say? Like, you get several videos piled up, and then you can like automatically kind of post some of them so that when you commit to 2 a week, you can actually stick to it. You know, then nobody's going to really complain if you increase the amount of videos, but some folks might, you know, be disappointed if you decrease the amount. So just something to keep in mind. But if you think you can do it, go for it. So, yeah, I would probably start with 1 and then, you know, increase to 2 if you feel like you can. Let's see. Oh, Riverwolf also said, I plan on getting a month's worth of videos uploaded and scheduled before the first one goes public. Do you think a month is a good buffer? There you go. Yes, I do think so. I think that allowing yourself the time to take days off, I think allowing yourself, if you get injured, you know, that your videos aren't, well, here I am still sitting here for a week because my ankle hurts, you know, or whatever. So a month is good. I think with Aaron and I, we did about 3 weeks. So, and then Jim says, what food and resupply for Fancy on trail? I'm gonna probably go, so I feed them, my mom feeds them like Gravy Train. When they're at Granny's, they get the stuff that tastes good, is what she said. But I feed them like a grain-free dog food. So like the first ingredient is like, you know, meat. But so I think that we'll probably stick with that on trail. It'll depend on how she does on that. But I probably will talk to some of my friends and find that have taken dogs and kind of find out what they do. The benefit to us going out and just doing sections is that we'll have a vehicle, and so I can pick up food basically from wherever. When you through hike with a dog or do, you know, extended sections where you have resupply points, sometimes you're at the mercy of whatever's in town unless you're mailing yourself stuff. So Ragnar, the dog that I hiked around on the PCT with Milestone, ate special food because I think he had something up with his kidneys. So he had to have some kind of low protein type food. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what it was. So we'll see. Okay, let's see. Is Aaron going to have a YouTube channel? Yes, he is definitely going to document his journey on the AT and his journey of trying to stay keto the whole time. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to see that. Let's see. River says, awesome, thanks for the advice. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm happy to help however I can. I mean, I feel like a lot of times my answers are, well, it depends, but that's because I feel like there's not one perfect answer. You know, it's like I can tell you my experience and then you can kind of, you know, take it from there. But Patrick says, yeah, I'd love to see Aaron on the AT. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Let's see. Let's see. Do you have any talks planned in Virginia or are there any events you would like to be a speaker? So I would like to do trail days. I'm not speaking there, but I would like to go to trail days on the AT in May. But right now all their vendors are full. They're giving those people a chance to say if they want to come back. And then I think this month sometime they're supposed to reach out to the waiting list if some of those people aren't coming back. So I'm just waiting to hear if I get to go out on the AT or not. So we'll see. I mean, out to trail days. I can go anyway, so I might be there anyway. But I'm not sure yet if I will be a vendor there, but that would be really cool. And then I can just, kind of hang out and meet whoever comes up to the tent. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, but that's in Damascus, Virginia. But as far as speaking or anything, I don't have anything planned there. Almost 40 miles from the beginning of Approach Trail to Neil's Gap, according to Gut Hook. Thank you for your great advice on that. Okay, so it is almost 40. Yeah, maybe it's like 38. So that's probably why I had 6 days of food, because I probably went, okay, if it's 38, I should account for 5 days, and then plus 1, because, normally I try to do like plus a half day or really I do like plus 1 meal, whatever time frame I think it's going to take me, plus, meal, maybe 2 at max. But, so that's probably what I did. But I bet you're probably going to do more miles than I did. So, how hard was it to figure out resupply options as you hiked through the Whites on the AT? I'm trying to remember. I don't think that it was real bad though up there. I remember something about Pinkham Notch. Does that sound right? There are like notches there, and you have to hitchhike, and it's a little bit longer. Or sometimes they have things like the Yellow Deli, and I know everyone's like, that's a cult, but if they're a cult, they're a nice cult that will bring a shuttle for donations and take you to their hostel and let you stay, or just to the town. And so and they didn't my experience, they didn't like preach to you the whole time about their religion and their views and whatever. It was more or less like, this is what we do here, this is our thing. If you'd like to know any more information, then just ask us. So, but I remember a couple places them being helpful in New Hampshire. Maybe one was in Vermont and one was in New Hampshire, but I don't recall that it was like extremely difficult. There were anywhere that I tried to hitchhike, I didn't have any issues. Oh wow, good Lord. Fancy, you scared me. See how squealy she is, y'all? I'm telling you, she's going to give me a heart attack on the PCT, and probably people are going to hate me until she gets used to the deer and stuff like that. The video today was trail etiquette, and this thing here is going to test me on etiquette with a dog with her little squealy self if she's barking at everything. But Mom was like, man, she's going to hear a chipmunk like poot in the middle of the night and freak out, but hopefully not. Hopefully she'll get used to all those sounds. So, we'll find out. No, ma'am. Okay, let's see. But yeah, I'm sorry that I don't remember more specifically. Oops, about the resupply and the Whites. But if you have Gut Hook and you look there, it should be pretty helpful. Carl says, I hear the AT is reporting record high numbers coming this season. You are packing the trail with Dixie fans. Yeah, I bet. I don't know if they appreciate that, or if they're like, I wish she would shut her trap about that. But, it is what it is. Like we were talking about earlier, there are positives and negatives to everything. So in my mind, I'm like, good. All of those people who are going to get out in nature, spend some time with it, and have time to reflect on life and within themselves. And I think that that's a good thing. So. Just got done watching Liz Handstand Kidder and Evan E. Wolf from 2018. Really enjoy seeing different perspectives. Evan had some really unique methods. Yeah, that's like, everyone does things differently, and that's the beauty of it, That's really cool. They hack their own hack. I remember Riga getting annoyed with that saying one time. She was like, I can't hike anyone else's hike. It's not possible. But, she was just being silly. But, let's see. Stuart says, me too. Loved their videos. Riverwolf says, that's why I love your advice. You've seen and experienced so much. You know the variables. Well, thank you. Yeah, I always feel like, man, I'm not answering these questions well, but that's just, I'm just sharing what I saw and maybe what I saw other people do. And, because I find it, when people are like, this is a one size fits all piece of advice, and this is just the way it is. I like immediately question the credibility there. Like, just like, but is it, or are you just like, you just think that your way is the right way, you know? So I always hesitate when I try to say things to people like, well, you're going to feel like this, or you're going to feel like that. And it's like, well, let me back up. I felt like this, and I felt like that. And I know a lot of other people did too, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be the same way. So, so thank you. I appreciate that you understand that. Jim says it would be cool if you and Aaron could do a workshop together about YouTube and videography for Patreon members. Yeah, something like that. Something like that could be really fun. Or really, you know, for anybody that that would be interested in learning about it. But you know, it's like I tell Aaron, I'm like, well, we're not professionals, you know, and because I mean, neither of us. Well, he actually went to school for radio, television, and film. But I'm like, you know, we're just like doing it the way we do it. That doesn't mean it's the way to do it. But you know, if people want to know how we do it, then that could certainly be useful. But sometimes I feel like, well, who am I to tell folks, you know, a good way to do this stuff? But you know, if folks like it, then why not? So I second Jim, would love a video or two on the technicals of shooting and editing on trail. Yeah. And some of that, like the logistics for sure. And it would probably be good to do some kind of joint video with Aaron about that and talk about the process and all. So let's see. Dawn says Evan got a new trail name, Reverend. That's awesome. Let's see. Do you recommend a 65 liter or a 75 liter pack for a 7-day hike, no resupply in the fall? Well, so the longest stretch that I have done, I think, is 7 days. I was set up for 8, but then ended up having to get off trail. So, and that was with my Z-Packs pack. So, I mean, I don't see, unless you have it, and here we go, it depends, right? Is your sleeping bag synthetic or is your sleeping bag down? Because that right there is going to control a lot of the space in your pack. Also, how much room does your sleeping pad take up? Is it on the inside of the pack, or is it a foam pad that you strap to the outside? There are a lot of different variables there. If your other gear is pretty light and compact, I don't see why you couldn't squeeze it into a 65 liter, but it really depends on like how much food are you taking and how much are you going to be eating. So on the AT, I think the longest stretch I did was like 5 to 6 days, and I had a 50 liter pack. So for sure 5 days in my 50 liter pack. But you know, my stuff, I had my sleeping pad on the outside, and I did have a down sleeping bag. Well, later I had my sleeping pad on the inside too, but it takes up very little space. So, so yeah. I feel like a 65 liter would work, but you know, honestly, if you haven't bought it yet and it's something that you're going to go try on, like at REI, pack what you think you would need for 7 days of food if you can, you know, if it's something that you can go ahead and get, and it will sit on a shelf and not rot, and you can save it, and go to the store and pack all your gear in there and try to fit that food bag and see if you can do it with a 65, or if you need larger. If you're planning to buy it online, then get it from REI, and that, you know, their return policy is up to a year. So if you get it on Amazon, I think you have like 30 days, you know, but that way you can try it at home and then, you know, figure out. But I feel like you should be able to do it with the 65 if your gear is pretty compact. If not, then you might have to go up to the 75 liter. I hope that helps. But okay, I'm gonna write down the joint video with Aaron on shooting and editing. Okay. All right, I will put that into the video ideas list. So, nice visiting with you after me being gone for months. Gotta go. Have a good one. Well, thank you. Thank you for stopping in this time. I know it's been a while, but yeah, have a good evening, and maybe we'll see you next time. Let's see. How do you hold your phone so still when you vlog while you're walking? Lots of coffee. No, I'm just kidding. That actually makes me like jumpy, but I don't know. I reckon I just put it out there and just go with it. I don't use a gimbal. You could. I don't use a selfie stick or anything like that. Like, I just hold it and walk. I guess practice makes perfect. So I know that's not that is the answer. It might not be a helpful one, but it is actually the answer. So Sue says, how much weight and what pack is your mom carrying? We are close to the same age, so I'm curious. I don't know yet. She and I have not picked out our packs. We need to do that like ASAP because it's February and we're leaving at the end of May. And some of these have like lead times on when they're made. I don't know if I want to go with the Z-Packs pack again. Part of me wants to because I know it's trusty and it'll work. Part of me wants to get her something a little bit sturdier, but she's also not going to be carrying as much weight. Like, I'm going to be carrying all the fancy stuff. So, you know, I'm kind of tempted to go with a little bit heavier duty pack. So I'm still deciding on that. But I will certainly, you know, as we get closer and she has all her gear, I will definitely talk about some of that stuff. So, because that is a good question. My first live Q&A, really enjoyed it. Just be glad you aren't having to give your presentation to engineers. Your new job is much cooler than your old one. Yeah, I have given a presentation to engineers before, and I understand exactly what you're saying. And you know, sometimes, like, yeah, but I don't know. I do love engineers, and I like the ones that are like funny about their nerdiness. You know, that makes it fun. So, but yeah, I am glad that it's outdoor enthusiasts, and there might be some engineers in there, but it won't be like judged on the technicality of it. You know, it's all about the feeling and the inspiration or the experience, right? So that is exciting. Riverwolf says, time for night. Glad I was able to make it to tonight's Q&A. Thanks again, Dixie. Have a great night, y'all. Well, thank you for making it. And yeah, as you prepare for the PCT, you know, if you have more questions, just holler. And let's see. Leah says, do you remember if any of the canoe ferry crossing Kennebec? Do you remember if the canoe ferry crossing Kennebec River in Maine is free to hikers? I've been checking online and find no mention of fees. As far as I remember, yes, it is free. Fee free. So you just have to be there like at certain times and all that, but somebody will have that listed in Guthook, the most up-to-date information. The trail town that you're in before that, you know, you can look up all that. But yes, it was free when I went across. So Jerry says, I'm ready to ditch my engineering job for an outdoor adventuring job or anything else. Yeah, I understand, you know, and I wasn't in it that long. What about, let's see, 1.5 years with NRCS and about 1.5 years. So like 3 years. So that's really not, it's really not a whole lot. But I think now just having the boss, you know, if I could just like magically have my own practice and not have to work under somebody for so long and get my PE and all that. But of course I don't have that experience. So you really have to work with somebody else to get the experience. So, but yeah, let's see, 26 years ready for something new. Wow. Yes. Should look into trail engineering for park services. Yes. See, maybe you would like something like that. Yeah. And get to be outside more often and stuff like that. I guess it depends on what kind of engineering you're doing. So, all right. Well, now that it's slowing down a little bit up here. Uh-oh. Let's see. Just got here. Oh no, how much did I miss? You missed everything. No, I'm just kidding. You didn't miss everything. You missed technical difficulty. The YouTube app crashed. And so there are 2 different links. So there's another video other than this one, but they'll be recorded. If you click those links, you can watch everything you missed. So you did not miss anything and you missed everything before now, all at the same time. I'm just saying, like, it is documented, so it's okay. You can go back and see it. But Patrick said Dixie told us all of her secrets. Yeah, everything. I gave all of the dirt, but I magically deleted that, so none of that's going to be included. No, I'm just kidding. But I do want to go ahead and pull up. I'm looking down because I have my laptop in my lap because it's a laptop. I'm looking up the questions that people had. Let's see, that couldn't make it and wanted me to answer their questions. So let's see. Rex says, War Damn Eagle, and I don't know, Rex, if you're watching this right now, but I see you commented on the post with the link. So if you're wondering, or if anybody's watching this and they're wondering why they can't comment, if you have to click the link and then comment on that in the YouTube window. So but But anyway, Rex says, War Dame Eagle, did you ever have a day on the trail that you just sat in your tent all day? Your emotions just kept you holed up. I did not. I've certainly had, the only time that I zeroed in the woods was we found a really cool spot. I was with a group. I wanted to hang out with them, and we just zeroed, you know. So, but I didn't ever have such a bad time that I zeroed alone or with anyone else or anything like that. So no, I guess is the answer there as far as, you know, that happening. But I know that it has happened to other people. So if somebody was to get out there and that happens, or you feel like doing that, do not feel any guilt for that. Go with it. Just go with it. So, okay. Let's see some of the questions that folks asked who could not be here, and I told them I'd save it to the end. Let's see. On what date did you enter the Sierra? So the answer to that is, I believe it was like June 18th or June 19th. And did you wait in Kennedy Meadows at all for conditions to improve, or just headed in? So I feel like my tripod is slowly slipping down and cutting my head off. Okay. Not actually decapitating me, but just the frame is. Okay. So, did you wait at all for conditions to improve, or just headed in? It was a crazy snow year, so it's not normal. But what I did is I went home for my sister's graduation. So find you a sister and get her to graduate. Actually, it was my brother's graduation. So anyway, I went home for that. So it got me to Kennedy Meadows a little bit later than I would have if I hadn't gone home for graduation. I took like 17 days off because I would have gotten there pretty early. But the recommended date for going into Canadian Meadows is like June 15th. It's like mid-June. So I wanted to wait a little bit past that because of all the snow, but honestly, I don't know how much it really helped. So, and then why or why not? So that's why or why not. And thank you, and sorry if this was addressed elsewhere. I'm PCT 2019 and my brain is scrambled thinking of such things. I totally understand. Do not apologize. I understand that all of you can't possibly have watched every minute of anything I've ever put out, you know, asking for the piece of information you're looking for. So don't feel bad about asking me stuff that you think I might have answered before or elsewhere. I don't mind, you know, repeating the same things. So if it helps somebody out, but totally normal for your brain to be freaking out. But you can hang out in Kennedy Meadows. You'll know as you approach it. You'll know well before that what the snow is doing. So you'll have time to kind of slow it down or speed it up based on what's happening. So don't freak out, stay calm, and, you know, people will be talking about that a lot. So you'll kind of know what to do. All right. Let's see. Greg says, I have a question on tent choice for AT. I'm looking for a tent for a family of 3, all adult size. Seems all tents are comfortable at one less than their size. So for example, a 3-person is actually good for a 2-person, a 2-person is good for 1. I would like to sleep all of us in the same tent. I'm convinced a single wall tent is the way to go. The triplex is too small for all. The Ultimate 4 looks good, but I'm concerned about finding a spot large enough to pitch a tent on the trail. Is 3 people in the same tent on the AT possible or practical? Your thoughts on this would be appreciated. Thanks, Greg. Okay. So my first thought was, what if you did like a 3-person tent for 2 and then, you know, a 1 or 2-person tent for 1, but you said that you want all to be in the same tent. So it's definitely possible, you know, in areas like the White Mountains. It's going to be a little bit more difficult when it's real rocky terrain and like you can kind of squeeze in just where you can squeeze in. So some areas might be a little iffy. But the thing is, you can always cowboy camp. So if you get to an area, it's not raining, and you're like, you know what, there's really not a good spot to set this up, you can just cowboy camp. I don't know how y'all feel about that. That is an option, but I'm not going to say that it's not possible for a 4-person. On the PCT, my mom and I are going in a 3-person with Fancy, so, you know, but there certainly is a lot of area for camping. There are places to camp. You might not can squeeze in if it's a real popular time. You might not can squeeze in around the shelter where a lot of people tend to camp. You may have to move on down the trail and just find a spot, but I don't think it's completely unreasonable, no, that, you know, that a 4-person tent could work. So it could work. But I guess I would say be prepared that if you can't find a great spot and it's raining, to have to keep hiking in the rain until you find a spot, or if it's not raining, there is always the option of cowboy camping. So I hope that helps. Let's see what questions we got going on up here now, because I don't want to neglect y'all. Let's see. James says, awesome, awesome, awesome. Mark says, how's the merch business going? When are you going to add new items? Okay, so there was like the surge, around Christmas, and then bloop, it kind of fell off. So I haven't checked it lately, but I was getting a couple purchases here and there, maybe a day where I got none, and maybe a day where I got 4 or 5. So it's still going though. It's not completely died out, but much lower than the first, few days I announced it. I do need to look into adding new items. Add new merch and see if they're doing printing on the back yet. But I don't know when I'll add new items yet, but that's another thing that I would like to do in the next few weeks or so, is add something a little different, another design, or, whatever. I'd like to kind of keep things switched up in there, so, people stay interested, but yeah, so it still exists. It's just not as strong as it was out of the gate, which is, of course, makes sense. Jake says, thank you for hanging out with us for so long. Yeah, no problem. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. Like I said, I really like this, I'm just hanging out at the house by myself. So it's cool to chat with y'all. Lloyd says, good luck tomorrow. It really is nice having the wisdom teeth done and over with. Totally worth it. Yeah. So I get the wisdom teeth removed, and then y'all, I have to get braces again so I can get an implant where that fake tooth is. Because I got to make space, and then I'll have to probably get a bone graft, and then implant. It's just like, I'll be glad when my teeth are normal and I don't have to worry about my fake tooth breaking off the little retainer thing. But yeah. Lloyd says, I have my PE and work for myself, but Dixie's still cooler than me. Whatever, Lloyd, you're cool. You are cool. Cooler than the other side of the pillow. Leah says, I'm so glad that your tripod did not actually decapitate you, right? Yeah, that'd be really weird if that happened, and unfortunate for anybody watching, I guess. But, oh, River says, almost forgot, Famous started posting his CDT vids. Hope you get a chance to check them out. It's pretty cool seeing the same places and familiar faces, but from a different perspective. Oh, yeah, I saw. And he's been commenting on the channel some. So, yeah, any of y'all who enjoyed watching my CDT videos, you might want to see Famous's CDT videos. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. He decided to edit once he got home. What merchandise? I didn't hear about that yet. Okay, and Suzanne says, I still want a t-shirt. I'll be ordering. Awesome. Yeah, so I did some t-shirts through Spreadshirt. If you go to homemadewanderlust.com, and you look, oh yeah, I need to add that to the video description on my videos too. Duh. But if you look at, there should be a drop or a tab on the menu that says like shop or something to that effect that makes you think like, oh, this might be a place where you go to buy things. If you click there, then it'll say t-shirts, and I've got some actually t-shirts and coffee mugs for sale through Spreadshirt. So it's like drop shipping. So I don't mail them from my house. They exist out there. When you order them, they're printed and mailed to you. So yeah. Let's see. Patrick says, Leah, I think that would get a TOS strike. Uh-oh. What is TOS? I should know this, huh? Yeah, I should know this, but I don't know. Okay, there we go. Terms of service. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, that'd probably be kind of against the rules. Terms of service goof. Breaking YouTube rules. Thank you. Yes. I took that from the context that's what y'all meant, that YouTube would highly frown upon my head falling off or getting removed. This is what we talk about in the wee hours of the Q&As. So see, folks, if you're not here live, this is what you're missing out on, is talking about a phone decapitating a person, because that has a lot to do with backpacking. Oh. Oh, I feel like I've been extra silly tonight. And just so y'all know, if you're wondering, this is my first glass of wine for the night. I have not had any more before this. So anyway, you see, I'm not even done with the little bit that I poured before. So it's just my natural silliness coming out, and probably some nervousness of having my teeth cut out tomorrow. But okay, I just pretended like I knew and figured by context clues. See, she didn't know either. Y'all call me silly for not knowing. Well, glad I didn't miss all the interesting stuff. Oh no, see, you're here for the after party. You're here for the after party. Okay. Let me see. All right, the other folks who had questions. Allison said, would you approach the Sierra differently if you could do it over again? Flip, weight, etc. No, because it worked out well, and even though there were times where I thought like, oh God, is this going to be the end of me? It wasn't. So knowing now, or if I could know then what I know now, there we go. Then, you know, I would carry on because it worked out. Now, am I saying that I didn't take any risks? No, I definitely took risks. I took it day by day though, knowing that if I had to, I could always turn back. I mean, at some point you go across something that's sketchy enough that you're like, okay, well, this is the point of no return. When I cross this, I'm not doing it twice. So, but I certainly don't think less of anybody who gets to a situation like that and is like, oh, I want to flip now, or oh, I want to wait, or whatever. There is no shame in that. Like, you have to do what you're comfortable with, what you feel good about, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. So, you know, I know, like, sometimes I let pride get the best of me, but, you know, like on the CDT, I didn't, you know, I took the safer route at the end. And, no, it's not the way that I wanted to finish the Triple Crown journey, but, you know, it was still the end result of a proper thru-hike, an official thru-hike by the CDT definition of a thru-hike. So, but it was a safer route, you know. So on the PCT, there was no other route. There was no alternative except to plow through or to flip-flop. You know, that if I had flipped, that was a different alternative. But I just wanted to keep northbound. So, and then Jim says, well, Jim's here, but he said, looking forward to the Q&A. So bring the warm weather back with you. Or thanks for bringing the warm weather back. But that's all the questions that we have from folks who couldn't be here anyway. So, golly, I'm having to play with this thing. I need to get a new tripod. This one's, this one's trying to come after me. Okay. Patrick says, you take a risk getting in the car to get there. Exactly. Sure do. Mark says, t-shirts. Uh-oh. What you mean, t-shirts? Or are you talking about the merch? You were answering the question up there, I guess, maybe. Okay. Leah says, when did you start using your current logo? Who designed it for you, or did you design it? Well, thank you for acknowledging that I might have been creative enough to do it, but you're wrong. I am not talented in the world of design at all. So luckily, a girl that I knew on the Appalachian Trail, her name is Nicole, she did it for me. So I think it's Nicole Packard is her name on Facebook, but I don't know what her business is called, or she may just work for somebody, but I posted on Facebook and said, hey, who can do logos and such? And she was like, I can. And I think it costs like $100, something like that. So yeah, so she did it. And I started using it, I think it was before the PCT. So, okay. Oh, Mark says, I tried to post a link to your t-shirts. It didn't post apparently. Sorry. I was like, wait, t-shirts? I see. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. But I think it's a setting on YouTube. It like takes away the links. I wonder if there's a way that I know there's a way that I can change that in general, but sometimes I don't like people posting links on like the main videos, just when it's like spammy stuff or whatever. Sorry about, whoop. I'm back. Okay, sorry. My mom tried calling me. She's probably wondering like, what time am I taking you to get your teeth cut out tomorrow and all that. But anyhow, yeah, so the links, I don't know. I think that it sometimes filters those out, but Lloyd says, well, you're laughing and drinking wine, so apparently we are here to take your mind off your teeth. Thank you. I appreciate that. I am going to get, like, I've been eating pretty healthy. Today I had for breakfast bacon and some yogurt. And then for lunch, kind of late lunch, I had some fish and some green peas. But for dinner, before it hits midnight, because I can't have anything to eat or drink after midnight, I'm gonna go get me some McDonald's. I think, you know, in case that's my last meal, like if they put me under and I don't wake up, which they don't put you completely under, I'm just being dramatic, but I want a cheeseburger meal with some fries, and maybe I'll get a side salad too, so I'm trying to be good. But McDonald's does have, like, their greens on their side salad isn't that bad. Like, it's not just icebergs, so, but anyway. And what about the Homemade Wanderlust channel name? How'd you come up with the name? That's a good question. So that came up because I thought that when I got home from hiking, my blog, because I named the blog first, I thought, or the website, I thought that I would do like homemade type things, like composting and gardening and canning and more like self-sufficient stuff, and then also backpacking. So I thought the channel would be like a mixture of those things. Turns out that people don't really like when you combine things like that. So I kind of nixed, and also I decided to basically backpack full time, if you will. You know, not all the time, but just like half of the year pretty much. So that just kind of took over, but the name was already there, and so just kind of stuck. And I remember one time, all the original patrons might remember this when I posted, and I was like, Erin says that this name is kind of long and that I should change it to something simpler and shorter and easier to remember. If I'm gonna do it, now is probably the time to do it. What's y'all's opinion? And everyone was like, no, we like Homemade Wanderlust, so I stuck with it. But so that's kind of where it came from. But it makes sense because the way that I am kind of contradictory. Like, I love all that self-sufficiency and doing stuff at home, and in a way it ties in with the backpacking world, but in a way it's like they battle one another within me, so, you know, kind of makes sense. But eat something crunchy or chewy. Yeah, I really should. Yeah, I should get something that's like, I should be like eating ribs or something off, you know, the bone tonight, but oh well. Cheeseburger will work, I reckon. Looking out at my mother's back porch into the pitch dark woods, I'd be terrified to be out in that with all of the critters. Were your first nights out there alone? Yes, were your first nights out there alone, and is camping near a trail less scary? It could be more scary if you're worried about people. So, but I don't know. I'm not afraid of it anymore. And honestly, I grew up like hanging out with boys who like to go dirt road riding and camping and hunting and, you know, fishing and stuff like that. So, and then also like hide and seek, you know, and growing up in Alabama where there are a lot of woods, and so I got kind of used to it, you know. I remember the first time that I sat for an extended period of time in the woods. I had a little high school boyfriend, the same one that drove the moped fast so that I would wreck. Well, not so I would wreck, but so I did end up wrecking, trying to keep up with him. He was working the haunted hayride around Halloween, and so I decided to, I'm sorry I keep adjusting this, but it's like slipping and sliding and doing crazy things. But he was working the haunted hayride around Halloween, and so I wasn't really supposed to be out there with them because I wasn't working, but we walked back there. They were like, here, just wait in this spot for us, and then we'll meet up with you in a little while. And so I sat there and waited for them, and I was probably, oh, goodness, y'all. See, it's actually trying to get me this time. Wow, I appreciate y'all hanging in with me after all these little hiccups tonight. But anyway, so I sat there and waited for them, and, you know, I was probably out there for like a good hour and a half, and I heard like every little noise in the woods. But I guess my point is, I kind of grew up like that, but even still, yes, you know, I was a little spooked out like the first few nights. I did not camp alone on the AT the first night out. I did not camp alone on the AT completely alone where I knew that there wasn't anyone around until like New York even. But I did spend a lot of time alone in Maine. So, you know, on these more populated trails, you don't have to be alone unless you want to, for the most part. But I would say, like, if the only reason you don't go backpacking is because you're alone, like, try to get over that fear. You know, even if you camp the first night, like, near your car at a trailhead, and then, like, the next time you do it, walk in just a mile and camp, and knowing, like, okay, if I had to walk a mile back in the dark, I would. But just having that little security blanket, you know, maybe somewhere where you have cell service so you could call somebody and if you're freaked out. But I think kind of trying to get through that is a good idea. And yeah, I think for everybody it's a little scary at first. So it wasn't something that I was like, oh, I totally feel confident about all of this, you know, no. And in grizzly country, I was really freaked out. And that's after doing the AT and PCT. So I think that's normal for sure. So I hope that answers your question. River Wolf says, they talk about the risks on the PCT, got me curious, so I googled current snowpack in the Sierra, about 130% of average for this time of year. Looks like PCT class of 2019, better like snow. Oh. And see, I wanted to take my mom to the Sierra some and let her see it, but I don't know, it might be towards the end of the trip because I'm not gonna get her out in something that she's like terrified of. But you know, so I mean, it may be a good year for a flip-flop, you know. But yeah, about 130% of average. So I guess, like, the thing is though, if they don't get any more from now until the end, you know, or until summer, I mean, I know there will be more, but anyway, I'm just saying, like, the rest of it could be a drier season. There's a chance. But yeah, they might like snow. They might have to like it. You've mentioned before how much cash you recommend carrying on a thru hike at any given time, but I didn't write it down. What was the amount you recommended? I would say, I try to keep about no more usually than about $50 on me, but that's not like I make sure I leave town with 50. I would say anywhere from $20 to $50 because normally everywhere takes a debit card, and if they don't, then there is an ATM somewhere or cash back options at grocery stores and stuff like that. So I've never really had an issue with that. There was only one place ever you know, they only took cash, and I want to say that I had lost my debit card and I didn't know, like, the PIN on a credit card to do cash or something like that, because I don't have credit. Well, I carry a credit card for the purpose of renting cars only, and, you know, not even like for emergency purposes, but literally to rent cars in an emergency. But because a lot of times you can't rent a car with a debit card. So but anyway, I got in some kind of bind, but somebody that had been hiking around that knew I was good for it, you know, loaned me $20 and I paid for whatever. And now they have Venmo and the Cash App and all that stuff. So PayPal, you know, but anyhow. And that is the last of my stored up questions. Thank you for answering all of them. Yay! Awesome. James says, I agree. Don't change the name. Yeah, nice catch. Yeah, it's coming at me. Cat-like reflexes honed over thousands of miles in the woods. Maybe, you know, I wonder, there should be a study on that, like how your reflexes after a thru hike. Of course, I'm not sure that I'm at smothering a cougar level of cat-like reflexes yet, but isn't that, I'm still just, that's just insane to me that happened. But Tim says, ride your own motorcycle, ride. Never try to keep up or catch up. I lost a good friend like that. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's horrible. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's the same thing as like hike your own hike, except ride your own ride. That definitely sounds like good advice. But yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to keep up, and I wiped out. Of course, I didn't know anything about it, but yeah, I'm really sorry to hear about your friend. Jerry says, nothing like hearing a bear right outside your tent though. Yeah, you know, it's good for the heart. It's good for the circulatory system in your lungs, so you breathe really hard and exercise, all that stuff, for sure. Okay, I'm gonna write order tripod, because this one is funky now. Okay. let's see. I've been watching you, not a stalker, since your third YouTube video. It's amazing how much knowledge you have gained since then. Thank you. Yeah, and I think that I'm glad that you pointed that out. I think that's something important to think about, is that, you know, a lot of people think that they have to, or they can only start a channel when they become a professional on something. But sometimes it's okay to document your journey of learning. So like if you want to start a channel, not, you know, you can on backpacking, but even on anything that you're passionate about learning about. I think it's okay to document, like, oh, this is me making mistakes. Oh, this is me learning. And it's okay to admit that you've made a mistake. And I think people respect that. So anything that you're learning that you want to document the experience and start a channel on, I don't see anything wrong with that, because otherwise I would not have this channel, because I was definitely not even close to any kind of expert on backpacking, considering I had never been on a backpacking trip when I started the AT. So, and that's why I never do like absolute answers, because it's just like, you know, I'm certainly no expert. So, but thank you for sticking around with me that long. I want to say that you've been here through the long haul for sure. James says, do most people see moose on the AT, or did you just get lucky? Yeah, I think in New Hampshire and Maine, it does happen pretty frequently. So I shouldn't say it happens frequently, but I think most people see a moose there, whether it's just one, you know, or several. But Jim says, prayers for tomorrow, Dixie. Are your wisdom teeth impacted? Love video that mom took after the first wisdom tooth was pulled. Do you remember what you said? Yes. I said ridiculous things. I was like, because I told the dentist that they were efficient, because I was like, whoa, you're already done? And they were like, yep. And I was like, man, y'all are efficient. And I said, I'm just glad that I didn't tell them the devil's coming to get them, because I was so worried I was going to say something obscene like, the devil's coming to get y'all, or like, you know, just something ridiculous and really embarrass myself. But thankfully, I just complimented them on the fact that they were very efficient in their wisdom tooth removal process. So, but thank you for the well wishes. And they're, I guess impacted means they're like, mine are out, but they're like in weird ways. So River says, horrible situation, but that cougar guy was a hell of a story to tell for the rest of his life. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I saw a comment somewhere and somebody was like, this guy should never have to buy a beer for himself again. And I was like, agreed. Okay, let's see. What kind of tripod are you using? I have the Joby Gorilla Pod, but it's actually really good. This one made it through the whole CDT, and this is the first time I've ever had one kind of like, well, I have had one kind of crack. I think that was on the PCT, but for how long it's made it, I really cannot complain, and I will buy another one of the same ones because they're really good. But this one's just getting like loose and slipping and stuff. When I heard about the cougar, I did think of you, and I'd like to know. Oh, you'd like to know the tripod too? Yeah, the Gorilla Pod by Joby. I think it's Joby. Mark says, enjoy the Q&A tonight, Dixie, and as always, go Tigers! Yeah, go Tigers and go Clemson. I'm sorry for anyone that lost, that was an Alabama fan, and I'm not being facetious or sarcastic. I really don't like when we play another team, I usually do feel bad for the other team when we win. So, but anyway, I don't know why I started talking about the Clemson Tigers, but okay. Anyhow, let's see. But yeah, thank you, Mark, for being here, and we'll see you later. Have a good night. Leah says, thank you for the channel advice and the learning curve. People keep telling me about the learning curve, but it's scary to finally say my first video is good enough and post it. Wow, this thing is really just being over the top. Well, I understand what you're saying, but the thing is, like, at the beginning, and this sounds like I'm being ugly when I say this, but at the beginning, like, nobody is watching. That's what they say. But it's true. You know, it's like, that's why I think a lot of folks think if I could just have a lot of exposure, you know, so if I could just get somebody to talk about my channel or talk about my work, like I could just be so successful. But it's like, really, you want to get out all of the kinks. You want things to grow organically so that you can make mistakes without a big audience being there to see it, you know, and then be like, wow, you really messed up. So people will tell you, but you want like a small amount of people telling you, and then for it to slowly grow. So it's good. It's good to throw it out there and to finally, like you said, don't do like analysis paralysis where you're like, oh, this isn't good enough, or, you know, I don't like this, or it's not perfect. So I'm not going to do it, because you learn as you go. So, Jerry says, I hear you can take out a cougar with a tripod. Well, you know, I mean, if that's the only tool you have, like, I would give it a shot before I'd go down. So James said, how difficult was it documenting the AT? Did Aaron do all the editing then too? Would it have been possible to do it yourself? It is certainly possible to do it. I don't edit well. Honestly, fortunately I have not had to really try. So I guess I shouldn't say I don't, because I really haven't been put in that situation. A girl named Whitney did it for me on the AT, and then Aaron started doing it in between the AT and the PCT. So, but there are people out there that definitely do it themselves. So yes, it is possible. Patrick says, keeping it classy even when drugged up. Yeah, I tried. You know, what's that little emoji? The little, I do what I can. But no, I'm glad. I'm glad that I said that. I just hope tomorrow I keep the same class going, but we'll see. Sally says, hi, I see you waving, Sally. Marjorie says, nothing against your first editor, but would you consider re-editing your AT videos so they are up to par with your current videos? Yeah, so I mean, Aaron certainly does an incredible job. He does, in my opinion, and he does, he was much more experienced than the girl who did it to start with. Also, I was not as experienced capturing video, so there is that. So it's not just her, it's me too, in the way that I didn't know what I was doing, and I still kind of don't, but I just go with it. And you learn as you go, and you learn what people like, and you learn what you like, and you learn how to show it instead of say it. So if I'm like, wow, it's really cold out here, like, I need to show you how cold it is also. So, I just think that those are things you learn over time. So he could, I think, definitely use the footage and make the videos better, for sure. But also, I don't think that they would be as, the same quality simply because I was also not there, so. Leah says, did Aaron edit your AT movie? Yes, he did. So that editing, I think, was, showed that it was a little bit better, but it's still not got the same kind of shots as the PCT and CDT because, I learned and moved forward. So, but thank you so much, Jessica. Really appreciate you answering questions, even though they've been asked before. Yeah, I don't mind at all. Like, that's just part of it. If somebody gets offended by that and is like, I expect you to go watch all of the hours and all of the minutes and seconds of everything I've ever said before you ask me a question, well then, they just need to go somewhere, because, that's the way it is. Like, there are new people coming and going all the time, and folks that don't watch every single second of anything, and so I don't mind at all. Riverwolf said, I'm so glad you said that about starting out on YouTube. That's the angle I'm coming from it at. First thru-hike, new to making videos, gonna mess up and share it all, the good and the bad. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's the way it is, and people respect that. I think what people don't respect is if you act like you're a know-it-all, and then you mess up, well, then it shows that you're not a know-it-all. But if you're like, hey, I'm new at this and I'm learning, and people will, pitch in their 2 cents, take suggestions with a grain of salt, but like if you get several suggestions for the same thing, it might be something to consider. But not everyone is going to like exactly the same thing. You have to be true to yourself, but, also definitely be open to the idea of feedback, so. James, I do it all by myself on a cell phone. It can be done. Yes. Do you use iMovie to edit? Is that what you're using? And Leah says, thank you, River Wolf. That helps me too. Yeah. See, it's so cool how so many of y'all are kind of doing the same things, and so that's why, I don't know, I like this little community that we have here, and being able to share ideas and stuff like that, because I'm not a know-it-all. Y'all are better editors on video than I am, by far, because I don't even know where to start. I know what people talk about using, but I'm certainly no editor. So, let's see, did I get everything? Oh, I'm sorry. I did skip something here. Sorry. Okay, hey Dixie, can you settle a debate for me and my wife? She swears you highlight your hair. I say you do not. Prove me right, please. Huge fans and admirers. Watched every single video. You go, girl. We are not stalkers. Okay. So yes, I actually do. But I only highlight my hair about once a year, maybe twice a year, because when I get out in the sun, it turns lighter. So, when I'm out hiking, but I mean, you can see like, it's like a little bit different, right now, like you can definitely tell. So she is right, but it's not something that I do like all the time. You know what I mean? It's not something that every 2 or 3 months I'm getting done, because my hair does lighten up a lot in the sun. So if I come home from a thru hike, when it's like, and I'm inside more, it'll start getting a little darker, like it'll start growing out darker. So it's almost like I do highlights to even it out, because it's like natural highlights. So anyway, my hair lightens up naturally, but I do get highlights. So she's right. I'm sorry that I had to prove her right, but she's a woman, so she knows, right? But I don't get anything like too crazy bright. I just get it, to kind of blend in with everything else, which, I mean, hey, if people like theirs crazy bright, that's absolutely fine. It's just, I prefer to not have to do, a whole lot of maintenance to mine. So what did you get all the aerial shots in the PCT and CDT videos? Oh, you're asking how I got them? With a drone. I used a Mavic Air drone on the CDT, and on the PCT, the Mavic Pro. River Wolf says, I'm Android Moto Z, okay, Z2 Force. I use KineMaster now, but for my posted videos, I used Action Director for editing. Okay, gotcha. Snapseed for editing photos. I love that app. I've heard it's really good. I really should try using that. Dog, I lose. Dishes for a week. I'm sorry. And also highlighting, I found if I do that before I go out to the trail, it keeps me from having to wash it as much, because it kind of dries it out. So it's kind of interesting. But let's see. I'd love to know how many of us are starting through hikes this year, and on what trail, and how many of us are first time through hiking. Would Patreon have the functionality for you to set up a poll? I don't know if it does a poll, but I can just do a post and get people to answer. So you want to know through hikes or through hikers, and if it's first time. I will look into that, and I'll make a post if not, but yeah, I'll ask that. I'll say, people can share their start date if they'd like to. But anyhow, yeah, I'll do that. After we get off here. All right, Patrick said, you bet a woman on hair stuff, silly man. James says, Riverwolf, awesome. Then I'll definitely look into that. Thank you. You're welcome, Leah. See, y'all are so sweet, helping each other out. I'd love to hear what kinds of video shots you focus on now that you know what you're doing a little better. What do you wish you had focused on more or less when you started filming? Like I was saying, I do wish that I had done more of the show it, not say it, but really for me, show it and say it. So if I talk about how cold it is, show the rain falling, show, things being cold and miserable, show the wind blowing, show, all that stuff. So I wish I had done a little bit better job of that. But when I started the PCT and the videos came out, people were like, this is overproduced. I like the AT videos so much more. They were simpler and whatever. So some people were upset and didn't like the PCT videos, which again, you're not gonna please everybody, but I felt like the quality overall did go up. So people were upset that I wasn't showing more of the hiker life on the CDT, like other hikers. But the thing is, there just were less hikers, So, and I didn't, like the guys that I hiked with in the Sierra, certainly I was close with them and I did show a lot of them, but I didn't show as much maybe as of other people, because I didn't get as close with other people. I'm not going to put a camera in somebody's face that doesn't feel comfortable with that, you know what I mean? That I don't feel comfortable with, but if they're around me and they know what I'm doing and they don't mind, then I'll record them. Perk doesn't mind at all. He enjoys it. So anyway, But I do wish that I had done more slow-mo stuff, more time-lapse stuff, just what they call B-roll, more of that stuff. So, yeah, I wish I'd had a tripod so I could show myself hiking some and walking some like I did on the other trails. So I would say even having just the tiniest little tripod, like a gecko pod, is better than no tripod at all. So Jake says, are the Pinhoti or the Colorado trails considered through hikes? Yes, as far as I'm concerned. I know people say through hiking the CT. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I have not read that online where, the exact definition says that. But to me, if you complete a whole trail, then, you've through hiked it. And those are, I mean, I wonder what I wonder if we would say like 100 miles, if it's over 100 miles, it's considered a through hike. I don't know. I don't really know that definition. But in my mind, yes, I would say that they are. But let's see. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, and what trail? I was like, oh, what does she mean? What trail? Okay, yes. Let's see. The KineMaster is pretty easy to use on the cell and allows you to do a lot more with audio and graphics than Action Director. We gotta stick together. Leah, I'm going backpacking for the first time in 30 years, taking my 16-year-old son on the North Lake to South Lake Loop, Kings Canyon, Sierra. I think maybe a bit ambitious for a couple of first-timers. Nah, that's awesome. That's cool. That'll be an amazing trip. So that's really awesome. I thought that about the AT videos, PCT upgrade really lost the organic feel that I could identify with on the AT, but of course I still kept watching and appreciated them for different reasons. Yeah. And I think that, there were a lot of people who definitely said that. So it makes sense. Suzanne said the star shots were awesome. Yeah, those really were. That's thanks to Aaron, which I need to get him to teach me how he did that. I did do like a shooting star when there was a meteor shower, but I learned the settings for that from listening to Aaron talk about what he was doing. So I want to get the camera that Aaron carried on the CDT. I want to take that on the PCT with us. How are you and your mom going to get around from area to area that you're filling in on the PCT? So we'll hitchhike. We'll have a vehicle. We're on a road trip out there, but we'll hitchhike. Either we'll park the vehicle and hitchhike to the northern part and hike back to the vehicle. That would make the most sense. Or we'll park, hike, and then hitchhike back. So it'll just depend. Jake says, woot, then I will become a thru hiker this year. That's awesome. That is awesome. Leah says, that is so amazing, Jerry. It really is. I think that's incredible. Steven says, I'm planning to try the Lone Star Trail near Houston as my first try, right around 100 miles from where I sit. It's a big deal. Baby steps. Of course. No. And see, like, that is a big deal. Like, taking a pack and going into the woods for your first overnighter is a big deal. All of those things are definitely big deals. So, if you look at somebody that's done thousands of miles and you're like, oh, well, I'm just doing this. Well, like 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 adds up to thousands. So it's all a big deal and it's all exciting, right? And something I think to be, it's okay to be anxious and nervous and whatever for even one night. So, let's see. I love doing the time lapse. Waiting for them to film and watching them is like waiting to open presents Christmas morning. Yes, it is. That's a great way to describe it. Like, oh, how's it going to turn out? And sometimes you're like, yes, nailed it. And sometimes it's like, oh, really? Especially if it dies like during the time lapse or something like that. Leah says the smallest Joby tripod, smaller than the one in your gear list, is lighter than the Gecko pod. The lessons I have learned already. Look at that. Awesome. I love the quality improvement on the PCT CDT. Thank you. Yeah, see, there were mixed opinions for sure. And I understand because it was like completely different. How many miles do you have to fill in on the PCT? I am actually not exactly sure of the number. I should probably already have that calculated, but I do not know. And as we move forward, I will look into that. But I know that there is a 100-mile section from White Pass to Snoqualmie Pass, so it's at least 100 miles. But it's more than that. So I would say 200 to 300, maybe even, maybe not quite that much, but that might be how much I have to do to get around some of the closures. So I'll let y'all know on that. Looking forward to the obligatory Muir Hut photo. Of course. That's a cool place. Love that river. I'll definitely be doing time lapses out there, and I can't wait to see them. Steven, that is awesome. I live in Texas and would love to give that one a try. Let us know how you like that trail. I think it's mostly flat trail there. Yeah, Lone Star. Representing the state of Texas. Jerry says, is taking fancy with you going to prevent you from filling in some of the PCT gaps? No. No, it's not. If I have to board her, or if I have to, if mom has to come off, but I'm filling in those holes. Like, I will have connected footsteps on the PCT when I finish this summer. If I have to stay out there and, mom has to go back alone, which I would hate that. I would not want her to have to do that. But I'm not finishing this summer without having that done. I mean, unless something horrible happens, I shouldn't say, I'm not. But my goal is to definitely not leave from the West Coast until I finish that. Have you seen the new DJI Osmo Pocket camera? It's basically a pocket-sized gimbal that films in 4K and does time lapses, etc. Taking one on the AT, but haven't seen a lot filmed with it on YouTube yet. I'm gonna write that down, but I think that's what somebody messaged me about, and it looked really cool. But same as you, I haven't really seen a whole lot of I'm writing this down, Osmo. Haven't really seen a whole lot with it either, if it's the same thing, but it was DJI. So, but yeah, that's cool though. You'll have to let me know how you like that. It looks like a pretty neat tool. Again, if it's the thing that I'm thinking about. But I wrote it down, so I'll have to go check it out and make sure it is. Steven says, will do, Leah, flat and wet. Perfect. Jake says, I like the episode format on the CDT videos. Felt more like I was on the trail watching those than the compilation videos for the AT PCT. I enjoyed all of them. Well, thank you very, very much. The openness of the PCT and CDT came around great in the videos. It was an added bonus with the extra video shots of y'all on the CDT. Everything came together well. Thank you. Yeah, Aaron said, if he was out there and he could get some shots of me, because like on the PCT, the only shots of me was me walking away. There was none of me walking and talking. He's like, it almost feels like two different things, like selfie mode and then trail. And there's never like you on the trail. So he was trying to like kind of connect that on the CDT, and I think it worked out well. So, but anyway, does anyone else have any questions? Any other questions? If not, I reckon we will wrap it up. And thank y'all so much for another awesome Q&A. This one was really good. I hate that it kind of got broken up because of that technical difficulty. I hear one of my babies whining in there. Who's whining? Might be Hank. He might need to go potty or something. But let's see. I think it worked because the shooting editing fit the vibe of the trails. Well, thank you. I really do appreciate y'all's feedback, for real. Kevin says, best wishes and hope all goes well with the wisdom teeth. My crystal ball says there are no more dry sockets in your future. Yes! Yes! Good. I really hope that's the case. But Leah says, 3 hours again. Thanks, Dixie. Wow! We did another 3. That's awesome. James said, did you do videos on how much of the 3 trails cost you personally? I did. Hold on, Hanky. I did not. I put it in my ebook, but on the AT, but the other ones I did not calculate yet. But maybe I really should do that. Like how much, and I have done like how much in general it costs people. So I have done, like they recommend you have this much. I know on the AT anyway, but Patrick says, good luck with your procedure tomorrow and get well soon. Thank you very much. Suzanne says, good luck. Thanks for sharing your time. Good night, Dixie. Good night, good night. Good luck at the dentist. Make a video of you, dopey. Yeah, I'm sure my mom will. So, which I need to call her back, I guess, and find out. I'm sure she was asking, like, what time do I have to be up? But anyhow, all right, y'all. Thank you so much again for an awesome Q&A, and I will let y'all know how it goes tomorrow. And